Legends lost to the waves. Our journey begins with cities not just lost to time, but swallowed by the sea. Places that became the foundation for myths of sunken kingdoms, only to be rediscovered millennia later by modern explorers. 1. Heracleion, Egypt, the real Atlantis of Egypt. For centuries, it was believed to be a mere legend, a mythical city mentioned by the ancient Greek historian Herodotus. He wrote of a magnificent port city at the mouth of the Nile, a gateway to Egypt so grand that Helen of Troy and her lover Paris visited it before the Trojan War. This city, known as Thonis to the Egyptians and Heraklion to the Greeks, vanished from history seemingly without a trace for over 200 years. It was dismissed as myth, its memory blending into the legend of Atlantis. That was until the year 2000. After a 5-year search, French underwater archaeologist Franck Goddio and his team, using advanced mapping technology, discovered the impossible. Lying beneath the waves of the Mediterranean in Abu Qir Bay, they found the ruins of the lost city. The discovery was breathtaking. Colossal, 5-meter-tall statues of pharaohs and gods were found lying on the seabed, perfectly preserved. They found the remains of the grand temple of Amun-Gereb, where Cleopatra herself was likely inaugurated. Hundreds of ancient shipwrecks, the largest collection ever found in one place, were uncovered, along with gold coins, intricate jewelry, and massive stone slabs inscribed with hieroglyphs and Greek text, confirming the city's identity. Herakleion was the main customs port for all trade into Egypt from Greece, a bustling cosmopolitan hub before Alexandria was founded. Its demise came slowly. Located on unstable clay sediments, the city was gradually weakened by earthquakes and rising sea levels, finally succumbing to the sea around the 8th century AD. Its rediscovery proved that some legends are not just stories, but memories of real places waiting to be found. 2. Helike, Greece, the city that inspired Atlantis. Long before Heracleion was found, another sunken city haunted the ancient world, Helike in Achaea, Greece. A powerful and prosperous city, Helike was the leader of the First Achaean League and a major center for the worship of Poseidon, god of the sea and earthquakes. According to the ancient Roman writer Pausanias, the city's inhabitants committed an act of hubris when colonists from Asia Minor asked for a bronze statue of Poseidon, or at least a model of it. The people of Helike arrogantly refused. This, the legend says, sealed their doom. In the winter of 373 BC, the wrath of Poseidon was unleashed. The night sky was filled with immense columns of fire, and a catastrophic earthquake struck. The ground beneath Helike turned to liquid in a phenomenon now known as liquefaction, and the entire city slid into the sea. A massive tsunami followed, wiping out anyone who might have survived and erasing the city from the map completely. 4. Centuries after, ancient tourists would sail over the spot, trying to glimpse the submerged ruins and the bronze statue of Poseidon still standing on the seafloor. The story of Helike's sudden and total destruction is believed by many historians to be the real-life event that inspired Plato to write his famous allegory of Atlantis. For years, archaeologists searched for it without success. Finally, in 2001, following clues from ancient texts, a team led by Dora Katsanopoulou and Stephen Sota found the ruins, not in the sea, but several kilometers inland, buried under meters of coastal plain sediment. They had been searching in the wrong place. The ancient gulf where Helike sank had silted up over the millennia. Beneath the Roman-era ruins, they found an even older Bronze Age city, dating back to 2600–2300 BC, a first Helike that had contact with Troy. 3. Dwarka, India, the sunken city of Lord Krishna. In Hindu mythology, Dwarka is a city of immense importance. It is the sacred, ancient kingdom of one of the most revered deities, Lord Krishna. According to the epic poem, the Mahabharata, Dwarka was a magnificent city built on the coast of western India. The text describes it as a sprawling metropolis with 6 major sectors, residential and commercial areas, and opulent palaces made of precious stones, silver and gold, surrounded by beautiful gardens and lakes. It was, in essence, a golden city, a heaven on earth. The mythology states that after Krishna's death, a series of catastrophic floods consumed the city, submerging it in the ocean. For centuries, modern historians and archaeologists considered Dwarka a purely mythological creation. However, in the 1980s, the Marine Archaeology Unit of India's National Institute of Oceanography began underwater excavations off the coast of the modern-day city of Dwarka. Between 1983 and 1990, led by Dr. S.R. Rao, the team made a series of astonishing discoveries. They found submerged ruins of a massive, well-planned city-state. The structures, including fortifications, stone walls, and building foundations, corresponded remarkably with the descriptions of the legendary Dwarka found in the Mahabharata. The layout, the division into sectors, and the immense scale all match the ancient texts. Artifacts recovered from the site were dated to be between 1500 and 3000 BC, making the site one of the oldest in India. The discovery of Dwarka suggests that the epic poems of ancient India may contain not just myth, but a genuine historical record of a city that was lost to the sea. American megastructures, from the Andes Mountains to the jungles of the Yucatan, the Americas are home to cities of staggering scale and architectural genius, built by civilizations that rose and fell long before the arrival of Europeans. 4. Machu Picchu, Peru. The lost city of the Incas, perched high in the Andes Mountains of Peru, in the Cusco region, lies one of the most famous and breathtaking archaeological sites on the planet, Machu Picchu. For centuries, it was hidden from the outside world, a lost city known only to a few local farmers. Built around 1450 AD by the great Inca Emperor Pachacuti, it was a masterpiece of engineering and landscape design. The city was inhabited for only about a century before it was abandoned, likely due to the Spanish conquests sweeping through the Inca Empire between 1530 and 1572. Because it was so remote and inaccessible, the Spanish conquistadors never found it, which allowed it to remain remarkably intact. It was not until 1911 that the American historian and explorer Hiram Bingham was led to the site by a local guide and announced its existence to the world. What he found was a city of stunning sophistication, with over 200 structures built from massive stones cut with such precision that they fit together without mortar. The city is divided into 3 main areas: an agricultural sector with vast terraces built into the mountainside, an urban sector for living quarters, and a sacred sector containing the city's most important temples, including the Intihuatana stone, a ritual stone associated with astronomical observation. In 2007, it was deservedly named one of the new 7 wonders of the world. 5. Chichen Itza, Mexico, the city of the serpent god. Deep in the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico lies the sprawling ruins of Chichen Itza, one of the greatest Mayan cities and a designated UNESCO World Heritage Site. Since 1988, the city was likely first settled in the 6th century by the Maya, but its most iconic structures show a strong influence from the Toltec people who arrived later in the 9th century. This blend of cultures created a unique architectural style. At its heart stands the magnificent temple of Kukulkan, known as El Castillo, the castle, because of the similarity Spanish conquistadors saw to European fortifications. This step pyramid is an architectural marvel and a massive solar calendar. It has 365 steps, one for each day of the year, distributed across its 4 staircases and top platform. During the spring and autumn equinoxes, a remarkable phenomenon occurs. As the sun sets, the shadows cast by the corners of the pyramid create the illusion of a massive serpent slithering down the northern staircase to join a stone serpent head at its base. Another key feature is the sacred cenote, a massive natural sinkhole that was used for religious activities, including human sacrifices to the rain god Chak. Chichen Itza was once a dominant political and economic power, but it was abandoned and fell into ruin until its rediscovery in the 19th century. 6. Calakmul, Mexico, the capital of the Snake Kingdom. Hidden deep within the jungles of Campeche, Mexico, lie the ruins of Calakmul, one of the most powerful cities of the ancient Maya civilization. Established in the 7th century AD by the Khan dynasty, Calakmul was the capital of a superstate known as the Kingdom of the Snake. Its name means City of the Two Adjacent Pyramids, a reference to the two massive pyramids that dominate the site. For centuries, Calakmul was locked in a bitter power struggle with its great rival, Tikal, in modern-day Guatemala. These two superpowers vied for control over the Mayan world, forming vast networks of alliances and engaging in frequent warfare. The site is organized around a great central plaza, with 5 major complexes branching off from it. The pyramids are among the tallest in the Mayan world, with structure 2 reaching a height of over 45 meters. The city was abandoned in the 9th century, and the jungle reclaimed it, hiding it from the outside world for over 1,000 years. It was rediscovered in 1931 by the biologist Cyrus L. Lundell. Calakmul is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site, recognized for both its immense cultural importance and its location within one of the largest protected tropical forests in the Americas. 7. Caral, Peru, the mother city of the Americas. For a long time, historians believed that the earliest complex societies in the Americas arose in Mesoamerica. But in the Supi Valley of Peru, 200 kilometers north of Lima, a discovery was made that pushed back the timeline of civilization in the Americas by more than 1,000 years. This is Caral, an ancient and forgotten settlement dating back to 2900 BC. Rediscovered in 1948 by American anthropologist Paul Kosok, its true significance was not understood until the Peruvian archaeologist Ruth Shady began extensive excavations in the 1990s. Caral was a massive urban center with a population of around 3,000 people during its peak between 2600 and 2000 BC. Its architecture is staggering, with pyramids over 150 meters high, massive stone platforms and walls reaching 200 meters. The city also possessed a complex irrigation system. What is most remarkable about Caral is what it lacks. There is no evidence of warfare, no defensive walls, no weapons, and no signs of violent destruction have been found. It appears to have been a peaceful society, built on commerce and religion. In 2009, UNESCO declared it a World Cultural Heritage Site, recognizing it as one of the oldest and most sophisticated civilizations in the Americas. 8. Bandurria, Peru, even older than Caral. Just when the world was coming to terms with the age of Caral, another discovery nearby threatened to rewrite history once again. The site of Bandurria, in the Huara province of Peru, was brought to light by a flood in April 1973, which exposed ancient archaeological vestiges. Discovered by engineer Domingo Torrero and his father, it is now considered by some to be the oldest civilization in the Americas, a title previously held by Caral. According to Alejandro Chu Barrera, the director of the Bandurria Archaeological Project, the site dates back to 3200 BC, making it 300 years older than Caral. Bandurria is composed of 2 sectors, a monumental zone and a domestic zone. The monumental sector is better preserved and contains pyramid-like structures and ceremonial spaces. Its proximity to the Paraíso wetlands, an area of great biodiversity, suggests its inhabitants had a rich and varied diet. Though close to Lima, Banduria is not as frequently visited as Caral, but its immense age and well-preserved architecture make it a crucial piece in the puzzle of how civilization first arose in the Americas. Crossroads of empires, these cities were the beating hearts of the ancient world, hubs of trade, culture, and power that connected East and West, and whose names have echoed through history for millennia. 9. Troy, Turkey, the city of Homer's Iliad. For centuries, the city of Troy was considered a pure myth, the legendary setting for Homer's epic poem, the Iliad. The story of the Trojan War, the princes Hector and Paris, and the famous Trojan horse was thought to be just that, a story. But in 1871, a German amateur archaeologist named Heinrich Schliemann, obsessed with the idea that Homer's tales were based on reality, traveled to Turkey with a copy of the Iliad in hand. Guided by earlier suggestions from archaeologist Frank Calvert, Schliemann began excavating a large mound called Hisarlik in ancient Anatolia. What he found shocked the world. Troy was real, but it was not just one city. Troy had been destroyed and rebuilt multiple times over 4 millennia, starting around 3000 BC. Each new city was built on the foundations of the previous one, creating a series of archaeological layers. Archaeologists now speak of at least 9 Troys. There is debate about which layer corresponds to the city of Homer's epic. Many believe it is Troy 6 or Troy 7. Troy 6 appears to have been devastated by an earthquake, not a war, leading many to believe that Troy 7, which shows clear signs of being sacked and burned, is the legendary city from the poem. Troy's strategic location made it a key point for trade between Europe and Asia. In 1998, the archaeological site of Troy was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site, forever cementing its place as both history and legend. 10. Taxila, Pakistan, the great learning center of ancient India. In ancient India, Taxila was the most important center of learning, a cosmopolitan university city that attracted scholars from all over the known world. Situated at the crossroads of 3 major trade routes, it connected Eastern India with Western Asia and Central Asia. Its references appear in ancient Indian, Greco-Roman, and Chinese literature. The city reached its peak while these trade routes thrived but fell into decline as they faded, ultimately being destroyed by the Huns in the 5th century AD. The city was rediscovered in 1863 by Sir Alexander Cunningham, an English engineer with a passion for the archaeological history of India. The ruins of Taxila, located 35 kilometers northeast of Rawalpindi, Pakistan, are vast and varied. Among the most significant findings are the Bir Mound, which contains the city's oldest remains, several Buddhist temples and monasteries like those at Jandial and Pipala, and the palace area of Sirkap. This palace area is remarkably similar in its layout, with fortified entrances to the Palace of Nineveh, its Assyrian counterpart. The rediscovery of Taxila brought back to life a legendary center of knowledge and culture that had been lost for centuries. 11. Leptis Magna, Libya, Rome's African jewel. On the Libyan coast of the Mediterranean Sea, 100 kilometers southeast of Tripoli, lies one of the most magnificent Roman archaeological sites in the world, Leptis Magna. For 1,500 years, it was buried under the sand, a perfectly preserved Roman metropolis. Founded by the Phoenicians in the 7th century BC, it was later colonized by the Carthaginians and finally became part of the Roman Empire. Leptis Magna was a major agricultural producer and a key hub for Mediterranean and trans-Saharan trade. Its greatest glory came under the reign of the Emperor Septimius Severus, who was born there and lavished the city with a monumental building program. The city's decline began under Arab rule, and as it fell into ruin, the desert sands moved in, burying it and protecting it from the ravages of time. It remained hidden until the early 20th century, when Italian archaeologists began systematic excavations. What they unveiled was breathtaking: a massive basilica, a circus, an amphitheater, forums, colonnaded streets, baths, aqueducts, and the magnificent Arch of Septimius Severus. Declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1982, Leptis Magna offers a stunningly complete picture of what a major Roman provincial city looked like in its prime. 12. Palmyra, Syria, the oasis queen of the desert. Situated around a lush oasis in the Syrian desert, Palmyra was once one of the most important cultural and commercial centers of the ancient world. It was a vital stop for caravans traveling the Silk Road, a melting pot of cultures where East met West. Palmyra's wealth and influence grew, and although it was part of the Roman Empire, it maintained a degree of independence. In the 3rd century AD, under the rule of the ambitious Queen Zenobia, Palmyra rebelled against Rome. After the death of her husband, King Septimius Odaenathus, Zenobia created the short-lived Palmyrene Empire, conquering Syria, Lebanon, and even Egypt. This brought her into direct conflict with the Roman Emperor Aurelian, who attacked and sacked the city. Although partially rebuilt by Diocletian, Palmyra began to decline and was eventually rediscovered by European travelers in the 17th century. Its ruins were among the most beautiful and well-preserved in the world, featuring the Grand Temple of Bel, the Temple of Baal-Shamin, and a magnificent triumphal arch. Tragically, in 2015, the terrorist group ISIS deliberately destroyed several of these 2,000-year-old structures with explosives, inflicting an irreplaceable loss on world heritage. Despite this devastation, the remaining ruins of Palmyra still capture the imagination of thousands, a testament to its former glory. Enigmatic capitals. These were the seats of power for kingdoms and empires whose histories are still being pieced together, cities that were once centers of immense wealth and influence. 13. Gordion, Turkey, the city of the Midas touch. Gordion was the capital of the ancient kingdom of Phrygia in the 9th century BC, a land once ruled by the mythical King Midas, who was said to turn everything he touched into gold. The city reached its peak of splendor between the 8th and 7th centuries BC. The remains of this legendary city are located in Asia Minor, on the ancient and still visible road between Lydia and Assyria, 75 kilometers southwest of Ankara. The city was sacked by the Sumerians, which likely led to its abandonment around 800 BC, though it was later rebuilt by the Persians. It is most famous as the site of the legendary Gordian knot. An oracle had declared that whoever could untie this incredibly intricate knot would rule all of Asia. When Alexander the Great arrived, he famously solved the puzzle by simply slicing through the knot with his sword. The city was rediscovered in 1900 by the brothers Gustav and Alfred Körte, who began excavations that same year. The work was continued between the 1950s and 1970s by the University of Pennsylvania Museum, revealing a massive citadel, elite tombs, and a wealth of artifacts from the time of Midas. 14. Great Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe, the mines of King Solomon. For centuries, rumors circulated in Africa about a city of incredible stone palaces hidden deep in the south of the continent. It was believed to be the source of the gold that the Queen of Sheba, according to the Bible, gifted to King Solomon. This myth of King Solomon's mines endured for 3 centuries. In 1867, a hunter named Adam Render stumbled upon the ruins, and in 1871, he showed them to the German geographer Karl Mauck, who immediately speculated that this was the site of the legendary mines. The truth, however, is even more fascinating. Great Zimbabwe is a massive 7-square-kilometer area that was built between the 11th and 15th centuries by the indigenous Shona people. It was the capital of a prosperous trading empire that grew rich from gold. At its peak, it likely had a population of around 18,000 people. Its most striking features are its massive walls, built during the late Iron Age from granite stones cut so perfectly that they required no mortar. It was the most important political and economic center in southern Africa and is the largest archaeological site in sub-Saharan Africa. The site was named a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2003, finally recognized not as a biblical myth, but as a monumental achievement of a great African civilization. 15. Vijayanagara, India, the City of Victory. Its name in Sanskrit means City of Victory, and for over 200 years, Vijayanagara was the capital of a vast and powerful empire that ruled over southern India. Founded in 1336 AD, it was one of the largest cities in the world in its time, a thriving metropolis known for its immense wealth and stunning architecture. The ruins of the city are located around the modern-day village of Hampi. In 1565, the city was attacked and destroyed by a coalition of Deccan sultanates. It was abandoned and left to be consumed by the jungle until it was rediscovered in the year 1800 by Colonel Colin Mackenzie. What he found was a sprawling landscape of ruined temples, palaces, and public buildings, a testament to the city's former grandeur. In 1986, the ruins at Hampi were declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site, preserving the memory of this great city of victory. Archaeological puzzles. Our final two cities are perhaps the most famous of all, one an entire civilization that vanished without a trace, the other a city frozen in time by a volcanic catastrophe. 16. Mohenjo-Daro, Pakistan, the Mound of the Dead. The discovery of Mohenjo-Daro was a complete surprise to everyone, including its discoverer, John Marshall. No historical records mentioned its existence, yet it turned out to be one of the oldest cities in the world and the largest of the ancient Indus Valley civilization. Its ancient name is unknown. The modern name means Mound of the Dead, a name given to it because of the desolate landscape that surrounds it. The vastness of its territory suggests it was the capital of a large and important state. The city flourished from 2600 to 1900 BC, when it was abandoned. What has astonished experts is the incredible care taken in its urban planning. The city is laid out on a grid system with streets that are remarkably straight, and it possessed a highly advanced drainage and sewer system, far superior to anything in the ancient world. Its architecture is characterized by fired bricks. The most famous structure is the Great Bath, a massive public water tank that was likely used for religious rituals. The people who built this incredible city remain a mystery. Their script has never been deciphered, and we know almost nothing about their social structure or who ruled them. The discovery of Mohenjo-Daro between 1920 and 1922 opened up a new chapter in ancient history, revealing a civilization as advanced as those of Egypt and Mesopotamia, yet completely unknown until the 20th century. 17. Pompeii, Italy, the city frozen in time. Established in the 7th century BC, the Roman city of Pompeii was a bustling resort town for Rome's elite. But in the year 79 AD, its fate was sealed. Mount Vesuvius, the volcano that loomed over the city, erupted catastrophically, burying Pompeii and the neighboring city of Herculaneum under a thick blanket of volcanic ash and pumice. The destruction of Pompeii lived on as a legend, immortalized in the letters of Pliny the Younger, who witnessed the eruption. The city was lost for over 1,500 years until it was rediscovered in 1748. Excavations, started by military engineer Roque Joaquin de Alcubierre, revealed a city frozen in its final moments. The ash had perfectly preserved everything: buildings, forums, luxurious mansions like the House of the Silver Wedding, and stunning frescoes like those in the Villa of the Mysteries were all found intact. But most hauntingly, the excavators found voids in the hardened ash left by the decomposed bodies of the victims. By pouring plaster into these cavities, they were able to create detailed casts of the people of Pompeii, capturing them in their final tragic moments, crouching in fear, huddling with their families, or trying in vain to shield themselves from the volcano's wrath. Pompeii offers a uniquely faithful and horrifying snapshot of Roman life and the terror of that fateful day.